Hello, this is Uncut. I'm an ex-top 50 World of Warcraft tank who plays semi-casual in the raid scene, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Empathize, a raid leader for the guild Erebos, a top 200 US guild. So Empathize, can you give us some of your WoW background?
Yeah, I started off at the ripe old age of 12 years old, and right away I started raiding with Death and Taxes. That was my first ever guild, and I decided to stick out with them until all the drama lapsed, which was about Nax 40, like about Kel'Thuzad. So I stayed with them for quite some time. After I was done with D&T, I decided to go Horde, and I went Horde on Black Dragon Fight, where I just raided with Edge of Insanity, where I had like a few tanks like Sinner Mighty, who you guys know is from Blood Legion. Just random people like that coming in and out of guilds that like I used to play with. Um, didn't get anything like really good in Wrath. I just kind of like played lax, and then after that, I just kind of like stayed casual, sort of. Got a few good kills here and there. Mop, I got some top tier guild like kills. That was pretty fun. But other than that, nothing really too exclusive. Just a few nice guilds along the way.
Okay, so how do you think your current guild's progression has been so far?
So far, I mean, there's good days and there's bad days, like there is in rating, but overall, um, they tend to like learn things a little bit on the slower side, but then once they learn it, it's like a kill. Like it'll take us 100 kill or 100 pulls to kill something, and then literally we'll walk in the next day and we'll one shot it, which like really baffles my mind sometimes. But other than that, like there's just a few lapses in judgment and a few like misplays here and there that cost us kills, and it's just from lack of focus and motivation to stay that, this is a brand new pull. Let's start brand new and do it 110% instead of like having the morale dump and then doing it at 50% and then being that guy to accidentally screw something up.
So as a raid leader, what do you do to keep your raiders' motivation high, or morale as you say?
Well, everybody has like their own different types of how to play. Like for me, I don't need like a morale boost or anything like that. I understand it's a try. Something's gonna happen in a try. But with some people, if you don't understand how to give them their morale boost, it's really hard. Especially for me because I don't need one, so I don't really know like a lot of tips and tricks for it. But as far as like trying to get them motivated, I just try to get them to understand that, this mechanic is coming. Try to know what you need to do with it before it comes out, so that way you don't have the confusion of or the panic to say, "Oh, I got a debuff, I need to get here," but now I don't know. Like, maybe you lost a second or two in there. So it's just better to know what's coming and then just to be aware. Always be two steps ahead of what's coming, and just kind of keep your eye on the prize. And you can kill a lot of bosses that way just by playing safe.
What do you look for when you're recruiting players?
Just promise, really. Not a lot of you got to understand, especially nowadays, that a lot of players they're either new or they came about when the game was like kind of in the hand-holding stage of just giving people gear. So like, there's a lot of people that don't have the skill that it takes to kill mythic bosses, but they can acquire that skill over time. So people that come in and dominate normal mechanics and that understand that they want to be the ones to do the interrupting, or they want to do the ones that are in the pivot roles, like kiting siege makers on Black Hand, or pivot roles like butcher stacks and shit. It's just normal stuff like that that you want that player to do. And if you have that player to come in and do that, then everybody can rely on that player, and everybody's comfortable with each other. And there's no like lapse in judgment there. Everybody's synergized together. You understand that, hey, this guy's on this assignment. I know this assignment's going to get done, so I can just focus on mine. You don't have to worry about his. And I think that's what generates good raiders.
So that being said, is that how you also assess the player when you're looking to promote them to above a trial?
Oh, absolutely. I think play style is 100% like the most important thing. Damage really isn't that important unless it's like on a damaging fight, like we'll say Blast Furnace, where you need a DPS requirement to kill something. And if you don't have that DPS requirement, even though you're really good at mechanics, well, that automatically locks you out of that role. Like, so somebody else needs to fill that role. So overall, though, yeah, it's very important that if a person comes in and is like very mechanically sound, understands that he or she needs to avoid these certain things versus doing high damage, that in turn they will learn those tips and tricks like throughout other pulls. Like when you first come into a place, it's very imperative that you make a good impression, and that good impression is not getting your name said, on a vocal communication where, you wipe the boss or something like that. It's just much better to play safe, play cautious, and then just continue on and to be a good raider like that.
So, Empathy, we've gone over quite a lot, but to you, what does it mean to be a raid leader?
I just think the overall like concept of raid leading is pretty cool. It's a good concept to have. You pretty much just come in and you lead your people. You have a lot of trust in your people already. You already know that. But the thing about it is you're just there to remind them that, hey, this needs to be done at this time. This needs to happen. Maybe they're there for motivation or, trying to positively reinforce good actions that you can see happening or unfolding during the course of a fight. It's very important for a raider to understand that they're doing right, and when they're doing right, they're commended for it. But depends on the level you play at as well. A lot of people at the top tier level don't need that sort of help or that motivation. They just want to continue to play that way. But for those of you that need that sort of motivation, it's good to have like somebody there to back you up, telling you that you're doing good when you're doing good.
And what about when you're doing wrong? How do you handle that?
I think any good raider, and we're speaking from a good rating standpoint, any good raider needs to take like the constructive criticism, no matter who it's from. It could be from that one person doing wrong. You just need to understand that you're doing wrong, admit it to your raid team, and then continue on. I think that's the most important thing is admitting that you were wrong, and then like noticing where you can become better, and that's what's going to make you a good raider in the long run.
Okay, that's cool. And how does raid leading affect your personal gameplay?
It affects it actually completely because not only am I not looking at myself, I'm literally just looking at everybody around me. I don't really pay much attention to myself, as a matter of fact. Even sometimes when I tell my raiders, "Hey, dodge this," maybe sometimes I get clipped by it because I'm, just looking for them. And other times it's just nice to have like that sort of edge and things like that, knowing what's going to happen before it happens, and then knowing what you're going to do to combat it. That also makes a really good raider. Understand what's coming and always be ready to like know what you're going to do when you get that certain debuff.
Okay, so we'll talk to like the masses now who will be watching this video. As I do a lot of recruiting myself, lots of guilds have been breaking up recently. What do you think causes these breakups, and how do you think it can be stopped?
I think a lot of guilds break up because they don't have the patience. A lot of people only raid a certain amount of hours a week, so they don't have that 20 plus hours a week like a lot of guilds do, the top tier anyway. So, with that being said, they want to accomplish what a lot of people are accomplishing in the 20 hours that they raid in for. And I think the impatience that a lot of people have causes them to become distraught during a pull or distraught during a raid group. And more or less, you just need to take a step back, understand that it's just a try. That try can be bad. There's always next try. And it's just very important that you understand that the tries are what's important. If you fail on one try, that doesn't mean you're going to fail on the next try. So, with that being said, the patience is a huge key, and I think that's what's breaking up a lot of people. A lot of people just want the quick fix, which is the quick kill, but they don't want to put in the 150 wipes on a certain boss. You put in the 150 wipes and you kill the boss. It's just an overall good feeling. So stick it out. Understand that this is going to take a lot of tries to learn, and then just make sure that you're learning every single pull. Don't regress. Don't like go from 90% to 98%, little things like that. Like play off of good pulls too. Understand that this was a good pull, this was our best pull. How did we get there? Why did we get there? And how can we improve on that pull to continue our progress? And that'll keep a lot of guilds happy.
Okay, you mentioned regressing there and deprogressing. Like, why do you think this happens, and how can you like stop your like raid team going like deprogressing?
Well, deep progressing is just a factor of like it could be laziness, it could be tunneling, it could be one person messing up one mechanic, but you try to intact the pull to keep it going. There's a lot of things that could happen. Like this is just like a sheer example. You're on Blackhand and you have a person that gets marked for death and they don't soak the same massive demolition. That could be a problem for the second massive demolition where you have to get behind the first massive demolition that comes down with the mark, which could be really inconvenient. point. So there are things that just need to be done, like for progression. Like when you regress, it's very imperative that you figure out why you regressed, figure out the cause of the regression, and then fix it so that way you can just progress. It's very important that you have these little mistakes and that you nip them right away. If it's one player continuously, you need to make it known to that player that, hey, this is the reason why we're screwing up. And then if it continues, I mean, even if it's like your pals or something like that, it depends on how bad you want to kill a boss. If you want to kill that boss, just you got to do the right things necessary to kill that boss. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. That's pretty much all the questions I have for you today, and that's all the time we have for. So, from Uncut from How to Carry It and Empathize from Erebos, we'd like to say, bye, 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 bye.
Kill some bosses, yo.